Alton Towers Resort is home to over 40 rides and attractions over here in the UK, and it holds Nemesis, Smiler, Oblivion and so much more world-class rides. And today I'm going to be counting down my top 10 favourite rides over at the park. Okay, first up is Hex, the Legend of the Towers, that opened in the year 2000. It is a Wickerman madhouse and it is definitely one of the coolest rides over at Alton Towers Resort. And it's definitely one of the most unique rides as well ever built, as it is built in the towers itself. So yes, the whole queue line and pre-show are indoors. And I'm not going to put any spoilers in this, but I would definitely if you are visiting Alton Towers, go on Hex, as it is only 5 minutes and 25 seconds for the whole entire ride. And yeah, it's just a really good ride, and also the capacity is very good on it, as you can fit 78 people per vault. So yeah. Okay, coming in at my number 9 spot is the Runaway mine train that opened at the park in 1992, and it is located in the wonderful themed area of Katanga Canyon. And also it does interact with another ride, is there River Rapids at the park, and it is called Congo River Rapids. And I would say both of them attractions are great family attractions, and Alton Towers is a perfect park because it does have that variety between family coasters and also thrill coasters and kiddie coasters as well. And the best thing about this ride is that you go through various tunnels, as you can see right now, and also you do interact, as I said, with Congo River Rapids that is right next to it. And yeah, you do come up some hills as well, and it is quite a nice view when you go around the ride. And also the best thing about this ride is you do get 2 laps. And yet the train's quite long, so you won't have to wait long for the Runaway mine train. If you go down to the Dark Forest, you'll find my number 8 spot, that is 13, and it is a very controversial one because a lot of the theme park coaster members think it is the number 1 coaster at the park, but I just can't see that because personally I think it is a family coaster, and obviously it does have that special moment that I can't share with you because I said I'm not going to do spoilers in this, but when I do my 13 review there will be spoilers. But yeah, I just think it's a family coaster, but it's still a must do when you're there because obviously it is one of the big 6, or now 7 as they had Wickerman. Spinning into my number 7th spot is a Mara spinning coaster that is Spinball Whizzer, and personally I think this is a great attraction at the park, and if you have 2 days at the park this is definitely a must do. But if you only have 1 day, try and do it, but you may prefer to do the big 6. But personally I think this is a very good coaster, as obviously you do spin around, and if you face backwards you're not going to stay backwards the whole way because you may be forward sometimes, you may be sideways or you may be backwards. And also it is in its land on its own, there is Adventureland, but you do get some incredible airtime. And yeah, the brakes are quite annoying sometimes because they're constant brakes, but yeah, as you can see now you sort of twist and turn and then you go over near that element. I don't know what it's called, but it is good, it's another good element, and then you go around the helix. And personally I think this is the best Mara spinning coaster I've done. I've done 3 of them: Crash's Coaster, Dragon's Fury and also this, and this is definitely the most rattly but also is the most powerful. So yeah, that's why it's came in my number 7th spot. Okay, so if we jump back into the Dark Forest, you'll find my number 6th spot. That is Rita, the Queen of Speed, that opened in the park in 2005. And as you can see, it launches to 60 miles an hour in 2.5 seconds, and it is much faster than it looks. If you sit close to the back of the train, it is not a very comfortable ride, but I'm basing this off if you sit on the very front row. That is absolutely incredible, and literally it is one of the best rides. It's the same as Stealth at Thorpe Park. If you sit front row, it changes the whole ride completely from the front to back. And yeah, obviously it is next to 13 as well, so whilst you're over doing 13, I'd make sure to check out Rita. Okay, coming in at my number 5th spot is Oblivion. That is a Bollinger and Mabillard dive coaster, and it was actually the first ever dive coaster built in the world. And let's say it is not the best dive coaster. I haven't actually been on another dive coaster, so I can't say that, but I don't think it would be the best dive coaster, as obviously it's not very tall. And the drop is amazing though. The drop is 180 foot, as obviously Alton Towers did have to dig underground. And when you get to the top of the lift hill, you have a nice turnaround of the towers, and then you come round and you see the Smiler, and this is where you start holding onto your restraint tighter and tighter as you're coming near the end of the top bit at the top. And then you suddenly go over, and then you just hang up there for about literally a second, so not too long, and then you just plummet straight down into this tunnel. And yeah, it is very fast, especially if you go on a wet day and you go near the end of the day. It does warm up quite a bit, and yeah, that is why Oblivion is in my number 5th spot. Okay, heading over to Forbidden Valley, you will find my number 4th spot. That is the legendary B&M roller coaster, Nemesis. It is definitely a coaster to do if you are visiting Alton Towers Resort for the first time, and I know a lot of you out there haven't got the chance to go on Nemesis. And Nemesis, let's just say for sure, it is the best B&M member I've ever ridden. I've only ridden 3. I've ridden Batman, I've also ridden Nemesis Inferno, and I've also ridden this. But this, obviously, this is the best one. Nemesis Inferno is good at Thorpe Park, and my top 10 will be coming soon. As you can see, you just crest over the lift hill, and you start coming down into these ditches, and that is something like Black Mamba does, where you sort of go in and out different ditches. And yeah, Nemesis does this very well actually, as obviously there's like loads of puddles of water, and you come like a barrel roll over the station, and it is amazing. And also there's some hidden bits of theming as well when you were going on Nemesis. And that vertical loop is just like amazing, as obviously you are underground and then you come out of ground and you come back in ground. And also the corkscrews are very whippy, and as people say, it is very intense. It is the most intense coaster I've ever been on in my life. And then you just slam into the brakes. It's not the smoothest of coasters, but it's definitely one to do, as people call it the legendary B&M. Coming in my number 3rd spot is the Smiler, the world's first 14 looping roller coaster, and it is definitely a must do when visiting the park, as obviously it does hold that amazing record of 14 inversions. When you get to the top of the lift hill, you think, oh my god, I've still got 13 inversions to go, and that is exactly right. You have so many different kinds of inversions, and it's not just the same like Colossus at Thorpe Park, that you've got so many barrel rolls. But this ride you've actually got different inversions, and also you do have an element that only 5 coasters actually have. And yeah, you do have 2 airtime moments as well. The second one is more powerful than the first, but it is still a good ride with them elements. But then you get to the halfway point, and then you go up a vertical chain lift. Once you get to the top of the lift hill, you know you've only got 7 inversions to go, but the last 7 inversions are actually the best, and especially if you're on the front row. If you're on the back row, it is not the smoothest of roller coasters, as obviously you do have the overhead restraints, but if you go front row and in one of the middle seats, you will definitely have one of the best rides of your life on the Smiler. And it's just such a good coaster, and then you know if you're going to interact with 2 cars or just on your own, that's not very fun. But yeah, it is definitely one of the best coasters, and that's why it deserves the number 3 spot on my top 10 list. Coming in at my 2nd spot is Wickerman, the new for 2018 roller coaster at the park. It is a GCI wooden roller coaster, and it is definitely one of the best coasters I've ever ridden in my life. It is very well themed. Most people say it is the best GCI, and I can see about that, as obviously I have watched POVs from all the other GCIs before, and yeah, they all look amazing to be honest, but this one definitely does look the best. I think Mystic Timbers could compare to this, but I think that's the only one with the theming that could compare to this. But this is an amazing ride. It's a full package because you have a pre-show, you have the queue line that it's not actually a castle plane queue line, it's actually a really nice queue line, because you sort of just make your way around past that Wickerman sculpture, the main sculpture. And yeah, if you get a front row on this, especially at night as well, like I got once, it is definitely one of the best coasters. And if you get back row, it's still amazing because it's not as rattly as the Smiler at back row. It's still a very smooth ride, but it does have that wooden feel. That is quite nice when you're going on it, because it feels like you're on a traditional roller coaster. As you can see, you're going to pass through the Wickerman again. The fire comes out the shoulders, and the story is it's meant to be burning all these different animals inside him. And it's a very good storyline. Make sure to watch a documentary about it, because it's very, very good. And yeah, on here you've got so many airtime moments, no inversions as expected on GCI coasters, but it is just a great layout, and a lot of my friends think it is the second best coaster at the park, and I totally agree with them on that. And there's no special surprise in the tunnels or anything, but it is just a great GCI roller coaster. Coming in at my number 1 spot is Galactica, a B&M flying coaster, and it is definitely my favourite coaster at the park. A lot of people don't agree with me on this one, and that's fine because everyone's got different opinions, but this was the second Big Six I did at Alton Towers, and as soon as I went on it, I knew this was going to be one of my favourite coasters in the world. And yeah, you sort of go up this lift hill over Nemesis, that is obviously the B&M coaster under it, so 2 B&Ms together, it is great. And you sort of go up the lift hill, and if you look to your left, you get great views of Nemesis. If you look to your right, you get great views of the car park. And then you sort of go over the chain lift, quite slow, and obviously as you can see it is black track because there's a tree limit on it. So yeah, they have to paint the top of the track black, and that's the same as Rita as well. And then you go down this drop through this portal that is absolutely incredible, and you lie on your back for a couple of seconds, and that's quite fun. As you pass through the trees, you pass over the entrance sign, and then you go straight round into a tunnel, and there's a little break on there. They never use the brake, and you have a nice turn around the area so you can wave to your friends that's waiting off the ride for you. And also you go over like sort of code rolls in a way, and then you sort of have some good air time, and then you sort of turn around, you get some more air time. And yeah, the air time, yeah, it's good on it, but it's not the best. And then you get a good view of the car park, and then you come round, and it takes your photo, and you go straight into the break. And that's why it is my number 1 coaster at the Alton Towers Resort. Okay, that's my top 10 rides over at the Alton Towers Resort. If you agree with me, or if you don't agree with me, please leave a comment down below what your top 10 rides are, as I would love to see. As you can see, I have very different opinions from most people of what I like about roller coasters. I love good airtime and a great fun ride overall. But everyone's got different opinions, like some people love inversions, and everyone likes different things. Some people like special elements, but I'm not such a fan of that. But yeah, so make sure to leave your top 10 rides at Alton Towers down below. There will be a Thought Park top 10 rides coming soon, and so yeah, make sure to stay tuned for AnTPC, and yeah, and I'll see you in the next video here on AnTPC. Goodbye.